Welcome to Game Night here at the Shelby County Reporter. We're in week 8 of the season. This is Davis Potter, our sports intern. I'm Wesley Hallman, sports editor. We had a couple of big games in Class 6A last week. First, we're going to start off by taking a look back at Spain Park, picking up an impressive 19-16 win over Vestavia Hills. Davis, we really didn't see that one coming. It sounds like Jake Hoffman played a big role in that game. What was your take?
Yeah, he really did. You know, kickers for the most part go unnoticed throughout the course of the game. You know, not getting a lot of recognition. But that all changed when he, hit a 27-yard field goal with 2 seconds left to unbreak the 16-16 tie and put the Jaguars ahead 19-16 there. And this is just you have to give a lot of credit to Coach Ben Bergeson and that Spain Park coaching staff. I mean, with all the drama that's been going off the field, all the stuff surrounding Coach Shores and that whole situation, they probably could have come out and made some excuses, but this team's not doing that, and that's really a testament to that coaching staff. They came out, they were focused, they did what they had to do, really limited the big plays of Vestavia Hills. They gave up a couple, but really that was it. And like you said, Hoffman hitting that huge field goal, he had hit, and the thing was with him, he had missed one, in their previous possession with about 3.5 minutes to go. He had attempted a 42-yarder that came up short. The defense forced a 3 and out. He comes back, gets another chance, and that's really all you can ask for is just if you're in his situation to get another chance there. And another thing besides getting the upset and knocking off the number 2 team in 6A. This win probably means more in terms of their playoff standing. They're holding on there to the number 4 spot in the Region 6 standings. The top 4 teams in each region go. So they ran their record to 3-2 with that big win over the Rebels, and holding on to that final spot like we said. And hopefully they got a big game next week at Pelham, and the chances are running out for these teams. Only 2 region games left as we wind down here at the end of the season. But if that huge win for them, if they can just kind of seize this momentum and keep it going, that maybe they can, finally sneak into the playoffs here at the end of the season.
The Jaguars certainly were impressive last week. The kicking game was spectacular, as you mentioned. It also sounds like the offense and defense are finally coming together there. They've had a lot of turmoil, as you mentioned, with the whole situation with the head coach hanging over their heads, but that's finally been resolved. Yeah. The picture is clear. You've got 2 region games left. You win 2 of those, you're in the playoffs, no questions about it. It'll be interesting to see how they turn around from that big emotional win over Vestavia Hills to a much-needed win against Pelham. In our game of the week last week, we saw Thompson travel to Pelham. The Panthers picked up a big 10-7 win over the Warriors. Neil Wagner, our city editor, was covering the game. Neil, what was your take?
Well, Wesley, just like every time Thompson and Pelham play, it was really close down to the wire. It was a really strong showing by both defenses on both teams. Honestly, watching both teams play, they were pretty evenly matched. They were definitely both of them were in it to win it. Pelham was able to come away with the victory. On the foot of Cameron Haynes, the kicker, connecting with that field goal right before the half. So. It was a really good game. It was a lot of fun to watch. Just like they always are. So it was a really good game, Wesley.
It sounds like it was a defensive struggle, 10-7. We knew that Thompson was coming off a big loss to Oak Mountain after a win over Carver. It was interesting to see if they could keep that see if they could get that momentum back from the win over Carver. It didn't happen for them in the big rivalry game. It sounds like it was an emotional game for both teams. The Panthers just had a little left in the tank at the end of the game and were able to hold off the Warriors and come away with a 10-7 win. It's going to be a big week for Pelham this week. If they still have a shot at the playoffs, they just have to come out prepared for a Spain Park team that's coming off a big win over Vestavia. If they can get past the Jaguars, they could seal a spot in the Class 6A playoffs.
In our game of the week this week, we have Pelham traveling to Spain Park for what's going to turn out to be a really big Region 6 game on Friday night. Both teams coming off big wins. Obviously, Spain Park upsetting the number 2 ranked team in the state, Vestavia Hills, while Pelham got a big region win over Thompson. Neil, what's your take on Friday night's game?
Well, Davis, I think it could be a really good game. Both teams have been a little bit inconsistent so far this year. Playing really great one week and then maybe falling off a little bit the next week. I think using the common opponent theory, I would say that that Spain Park does look a little bit stronger. Since they did take down the Rebels, who beat Pelham pretty bad earlier this year during the Panthers homecoming game. But with the Class 6A Region 6 playoff spot on the line, I would say that both teams are really going to show up and they're really going to be hungry for this victory. And I think because of that, I think both teams are really going to be playing strong, Davis.
Yeah, you mentioned the playoff implications that are on the line. The Jaguars and Panthers, as we mentioned, both picked up wins last night. Now Spain Park sits at 3-2 in the Region 6 standings. They're, holding on to that number 4 spot in the region, while Pelham's right on their heels there with a 2-3 record in the region. So, this game, if Pelham wins, they could jump up to that 4 spot as a tiebreaker. And if, the Jaguars are able to get the win, they even, widen their margin in terms of the lead over the Panthers. So this is a really big game on Friday night. Should be a good one.
Check back next week to see how Friday night's biggest games turned out. I'm Wesley Hallman.
And I'm Davis Potter.
And this has been Game Night at the Shelby County Reporter.